What do you do when you are stuck in life, when you are stuck making progress, whether it's physical or more on the mental level? Well, in my case, I decided to go away for a few weeks, and actually it was quite unexpected. Someone needed me abroad, so I said, okay, I'll come over. And so I went to Spain a couple of weeks ago, and I just returned last Tuesday night. It's Thursday night now. Well, it's actually Friday morning. But the good thing is, when I left for Spain, I was in a certain state of mind, which had to do with me being back on crutches again. So since 2014, I haven't been able to walk normally. At the end of the summer, July 31st, I twisted my ankle on a brick. I grabbed a hold of someone, she stepped away, and well, my body wasn't equipped for it. So I had a torn ligament, and a bone had gotten loose. A tendon which was attached to that little bone, and since it was sliding back and forth, it was also sliding with the tendon through the torn ligament. So in 2015 they fixed the ligament, and it took till about 2018 till they actually literally fixed the bone to another one with 2 screws. So here's the thing. Ever since it happened, I had to fight to be heard, to be believed. And when I had my first surgery, which that surgeon actually said, no, I can do it, can do it. He said it multiple times, I think maybe 9 or 10 times before he actually said, okay, I'm going to do it. So straight after the surgery, I was still in cast, but in walking cast. I went to Germany on a training, and well, the Netherlands is flat, especially the part where I live near the coast. And there I was in Germany near the Swiss border, and it was all hills, so we had to park somewhere uphill, and it was nowhere near the venue. And there I was going uphill and downhill with my crutches, which made me kind of grumpy. And next, there was this restroom, and please don't take any offense. I say it with a smile. I call it the crippled and disabled restroom. Sometimes you have to make a little bit of fun about certain things to make it a little bit lighter. Anyway, I was upset. And why was I upset? Because I had been pleading for that surgery. I had been told numerous times that it wasn't possible, and now it was done. And what happened was, people would use the restroom, and then there would be all this water around and underneath the sink. And crutches and water, it won't mix. The crutches start slipping and sliding, and with that means that I get to slip and slide and potentially fall. And I was like, oh my God, what if the surgery has been for nothing and they can't do anything about it anymore? So it was the fear of what might happen, which actually made me kind of angry and upset. So years later, I went to a similar training again from the same trainer, and a friend of mine said, well, I don't know if I want to go with you because last time you were so grumpy. And I was thinking about it. Was I so grumpy? And she was right. I was mad as hell. And I guess I didn't realize how angry and upset I was until last June, when, well, you know, I had my second surgery, November 2018, the end of November. I'd found someone else who believed that I needed something more, because I knew that that first one wasn't enough, but I was taking it. I was happy with the first one. It helped a lot, but it didn't help enough. I still couldn't walk and stand on 2 feet. I basically kept all my weight on my right leg. And having that surgery, that really changed a lot. So it took some time, say a year and a half, before I could actually stand on 2 feet again and walk a little bit without crutches. And then when I could last summer, I was like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to improve my walking again, and especially without the crutches. So it started with parking my car, you know, getting gasoline, and then, okay, I'm going to go inside the building without my crutches. Or I want to go inside and I want to buy something, which means that I needed my hands not to use the crutches, but to hold the bag, the shopping bag. By the way, I've gotten very inventive. I've got all sorts of backpacks, and I even learned to travel with 2 backpacks attached to one another, because I couldn't use the suitcase. But later, more about that. So when last June I twisted my knee, it was, how do I say it? I don't know how to say it in a decent manner. I want to say something, but no, I'm not going to do it. Anyway, it messed with my mind. Let's put it that way. Because just before, like a week before, I started to realize that I could start to walk distances without my crutches. And that was such a victory for me. Of course, I still needed to, you know, find my balance. So it looked a little bit wobbly. And maybe for those who didn't know any better, it might have looked like I'm a little drunk every now and then. Because I need to relearn to find that stability again. But I was getting there, and I was so proud of myself, and I was so thankful to, especially the second surgeon, for having helped me to get there. And of course, my physical therapist as well. And then there was this moment that I twisted my knee, and done and over it was with all the progress. And I just had come to terms that I wasn't glued to my crutches anymore. You know, it's after 7 years, it's like those crutches are part of my identity almost. And, you know, I don't go anywhere without them. I've got 2 pairs of crutches. One is attached to my bike and one is in my car. And so I always have a spare set of crutches when it's needed. And so I had to invent this new identity, which is a normal identity for most people, which is one of a healthy person who can actually walk, maybe have a sprint to go somewhere, ride a bike, and not use the crutches. And that was weird, because after having needed so many special facilities and asking people to help me out, I was, well, with regaining mobility, I didn't need to ask for help anymore. So it was kind of a different lifestyle. And now, all of a sudden, boom, I was back there with the crutches. And I actually had started to forget to take my crutches with me. And now I had to remind myself, oh yeah, I need to get my crutches, because if I turn unexpectedly, that's, you know, it could really hurt. And then I would no longer have any support of my left knee. And also my right knee started to cave in because I used it too much. So fortunately, I found a doctor straight away. And yes, he wanted to do surgery, but no, he didn't want to do the surgery that I wanted him to do. He only wanted to do a part of the surgery. Well, been there, done that. I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel like going through a second surgery afterwards. I mean, it's not like those surgeries are very good or healthy. So I asked for a second opinion, and I went to see a surgeon who actually had similar complications when he was a teenager or early 20s. He understood what I was talking about, and he said, we're not going to do any surgery at all. And I said, why? And he said, well, because then you are going to need an artificial knee in about 2 to 3 years. I said, well, I don't want that because they only last for about 15 years. And then I need a new knee replacement and then again. So I was like, okay, that's not a good suggestion. So we talked about what I could do. And basically, I'll be getting back to a brace, but then a new one. I call it a, it's a, that's, you know, when I have to come up with a word, then it instantly gets foggy. It's a very annoying habit, but it's not even a habit. It's something of the brain. But now I know. I call it a bionic brace because it looks a little bit like a robot type kind of thing. It has 2 knobs on the sides, so it keeps me in a certain position, or better yet, it prevents me from getting in a position I don't want to be in. So when I saw that surgeon yesterday, we talked about what to do and what not to do, and he said, okay, brace is okay, but, big but, I don't want you to use it every day because you're going to like that brace. And I'm pretty sure he's right. But I've been using braces for most of my life, mostly when working out, you know, being able to do step lessons and jump, twist my ankle, you know, a bit. And then about 10 minutes later, I would be back, you know, jumping. And I have to say, I miss those step lessons actually. But you know, different schools, different gyms, taken over, you know, all that stuff. Anyway, so we have concluded that I'll get the brace, I'll put it in my backpack, and I'll start walking, probably with my crutches at first, and then maybe without them. And then when my knee goes haywire, I can use the brace. So usually you want to use a brace to prevent something from happening, or as a support when something is not right. So when I'll be boxing, I'll be using it as prevention, because I know that the ligaments of my knee won't be able to hold me when I go from this to that side. So as long as I go forward or backwards, it's okay. It's when I'm turning that it's not going the way it should. But otherwise, I won't be. But the good thing was, and that was something I realized when I was in Spain, but especially when I was talking to him, I said, you know, I felt like I had this setback in June before the surgery of Bella Van Dalen. which was the 2 screws in my ankle. And I knew that wasn't entirely true because I still couldn't stand on 2 feet. And that's the big major difference. But I meant when it came to walking that, well, I was back needing crutches again. And I wasn't able to take a sprint or anything else because, well, if my knee caved in, it was over and out. So I felt like all progress was back to zero. Well, when I was in Spain, I walked across this dirt road. I used my crutches and someone said, oh, it's only going to be like 20 minutes. In the end, it was over half an hour because I took all these pictures. But I loved it. I loved walking there. There was this dog who lived at the house, a semi-wild dog. And she walked with me to the village. And then when we were close to the village, I tied my scarf to her collar because she does have a collar for some reason, and the other hand on my wrist. And well, she behaved really, really good. So that was kind of fun. And then I got picked up, and I was driven home by car, but not until I had some manchada con hielo first. That's like a cappuccino with ice, cappuccino with milk and ice. Anyway, I guess it was good to have experienced that I had been able to walk that distance. Okay, it was with crutches, but still, it was a distance I had not imagined I would be able to ever walk again. And realizing that there was actually still progress going on, that made all the difference for me. Because just prior to what had happened, I wanted to say to the surgeon, thank you for everything you've done. You've changed my life. And then this happened, and, you know, it was the total opposite. But now I can actually reach out to her and say, thank you for what you've done. And I think it's not only being walking down that dirt road, I think it's, which for me is still a win. It's worth a celebration, and I've celebrated it too. But the big difference was that in 2018, before the surgery, I went to Barcelona, and I was there on my own, and I brought my suitcase. And then I got stuck at the airport because I couldn't get inside the airport because I needed both my crutches, since I couldn't stand on both my feet, to move around, and you couldn't leave your suitcase alone. And well, I missed my flight. There's a video about that whole story. But this time, although I had company, I would have been able to go inside because I can now hold my crutches in one hand and I can pull my suitcase with me, because I can actually walk distances without my crutches, not long distances. And of course, no one has to call my name, because then I would turn around and that would be disastrous. But yeah, I can actually do it. I'm more independent compared to 3 years ago. So that meant that her surgery has done wonders. She has performed a miracle as far as I'm concerned, by giving me back my freedom to travel on my own. And I guess that was the mental reset I needed in order to realize that improvement is still going on. And honestly, that feels quite good. I cannot say it any differently. It really feels quite good. Well, more things have happened because of those 2 weeks. They were very intense. I've done a lot of talking. The other things I'll talk about in different videos. I want to talk about taking advantage of momentum, because it was a desolated area, but also because it was a very nice temperature out there. I was able to be working on my book whenever everybody was either asleep or doing something themselves. And also there was a bit of a culture shock because of what was around. It was like going back 30, 40 years in time. But that's not what I wanted to talk about in this video. This video is basically about gratitude. So I started out with, what do you do when you're stuck in life? And I would like to end with, find that reset so you can experience gratitude for the progress that you actually can observe again once you've found that switch, that reset you need. And so it's basically very important to find what can make that difference for you so you can continue on that path again. Well, I'm Lady Lexi. I'm the Mindset Trip Influencer. I'm taking you on a trip in the mind and in your life. And basically what I want to do is help you find your voice so you can speak out and not be silenced by either other people or yourself. And